Good morning, folks. We'll continue with the last session. That the last session we were discussing about the questions of level 1. We'll continue with that. Here comes our next question. Yeah. This is the question number 38 from level 1 of our material. Electron affinity of chlorine is minus 348 kilojoules per mole. Then the electron affinity of fluorine is in kilojoules per mole. Right? Here he has given the, try to understand the question. He has given the electron affinity of chlorine and asking us to identify the electron affinity of fluorine. Now, what is the relation between chlorine and fluorine? You need to understand. This chlorine and fluorine comes in 17th group or 78th group. And we know that chlorine is the atom. Generally, chlorine, bromine, iodine are comes under 17th group. Generally, we know that top to down what happens? Electron affinity decreases, but what is the element that is having highest electron affinity? Chlorine is the element that is having highest electron affinity, maximum electron affinity. Generally, we misunderstand this with the fluorine, but actually chlorine is having the highest or maximum electron affinity. What is the order of the 17th group? Chlorine, fluorine, bromine, and iodine. What he has given? He has given the electron affinity of chlorine. How much he has given? Minus 348 kilojoules per mole he has given, asking us to identify the fluorines. What is mean by that? The electron affinity of fluorine must be smaller than the electron affinity of the chlorine. Based on this logic, you need to attend this. Let us see what are the other options we have here. This is minus 333, which is less than 438. Don't look this. Don't consider this negative sign. It just gives us whether energy is released or absorbed. Here higher negative we should take. Here the value of fluorine should be less than the minus 348. Without considering this, consider this 348 only. Don't consider minus side. It just only indicate the energy is given out. Right? Now this is a smaller value we can consider, and it is equal to the chlorine. You cannot consider this because the electron affinity of the fluorine should be less than the chlorine. It is greater than chlorine. It is greater than 348. You cannot consider this. You can also consider this. What is the right answer? This is the right answer. Hope it is clear how we are analyzing this. The electron affinity of the fluorine should be less than the chlorine without considering the negative sign. And here we have only option which is less than the chlorine. Then that one option will be the electron affinity of the fluorines. Right? Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. If it is clear. Here comes our first question. The correct order of electron negativities of the elements is. He has given some elements asking us to identify the correct order. If you observe the elements, all of them belongs to the third period of the periodic table. What is that? Here is sodium, magnesium, silicon, phosphorus. These are all belongs to the third period of the periodic table. Then what happens when you are moving left to right in periodic table? Electron negativity increases. Why? Z effect increases. So what should be the order? If you are talking about the decreasing order, decreasing order should be what? Phosphorus, silicon. Here you will get the aluminum, silicon, phosphorus. This is a decreasing order. Increasing order: phosphorus, silicon, aluminum, magnesium, and sodium. This should be the decreasing. If he is asking increasing, the reverse will be increasing. Now let us see. I think in the first option itself we have the correct option. Phosphorus followed by silicon, followed by aluminum, followed by magnesium, followed by sodium. Right? This is about the electron negativity. So third period elements. Hope it is clear. If it is clear, we will move to the next question. That is the electron negativity of potassium is 0.8 and chlorine is 3.0. The type of bond form. Here he has given it. He is asking if chlorine combines with potassium, what will be the nature of bond formed between it? What he has given? He has given the electron negativity of potassium, how much? 0.8, and electron negativity of chlorine is also given. How much is 3.0? And how to decide whether the bond formed between this chlorine and potassium is covalent or ionic? Based on the electron negativity. What do you have to take? Here you have to take Electronegativity of potassium minus electronegativity of chlorine minus electronegativity of potassium. You have to take how much it is? 3 minus 0.8. How much it comes? 2.2. Generally we know that the electronegativity difference is equal to 1.7. What it will be? It will be 50% covalent and 50% ionic. If electronegativity is difference between two atoms is greater than, if it is greater than 1.7, this will be what? Ionic in nature. Ionic in nature. If it is less than 1.7, covalent in nature. So, as the electronegativity difference of potassium and chlorine is greater than 1.7, the nature of the bond formed between chlorine and potassium will be, what is this? Electrovalent bond. It cannot be covalent bond, it cannot be hydrogen bond, it cannot be metallic bond. It will be electrovalent bond or called as ionic bond. What do you call it as? Ionic bond equals. This is how you have to determine the nature of the bond when electronegativities of two bonded atoms are given. Hope it is clear. We will move to the next question. Here comes our next question. When the polarity of bond AB is delta, expressed in SI units, the relation between their electronegativity differences. What do you say? The polarity of the bond is given in terms of delta in SI units. SI units in the sense kilojoules per mole EC. So what is the relationship between electronegativity differences? Here, electronegativity difference will be equal to. This is already determined in case of Pauli scale. Pauli has calculated the electronegativities from the bond energies. Now, chi A minus chi B will be equal to 0.1017 root delta. This is the formula to determine the electronegativity from Pauli's scale when bond energies are given in SI unit. What is SI? What is given SI unit? Kilojoules per mole. So here this is your correct option. Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. Here comes our next question. The correct order of electropositive nature of lithium, sodium and potassium. What are the elements given? Lithium, sodium, potassium are given. All these elements belongs to the first group. He is asking the electropositive nature. Generally, up to down in the book what happens? Electropositive nature increases as electronegativity decreases. Why? Up to down in groups electronegativity decreases, so that electropositive nature increases. So what is the correct option? Sodium, potassium followed by sodium followed by lithium if you are talking about decreasing. If you are talking about increasing, lithium, sodium and potassium is the increasing order. Now let us see which is the right option. Is it the right option? Completely quite opposite. Right? Lithium is least electropositive. Here also it is wrong because he has said that lithium is more electropositive than potassium. If this is also wrong, why? He is saying that sodium is more electropositive than potassium. What is the right answer? Potassium followed by sodium followed by lithium is the decreasing order of electropositive nature. Right? Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. Here comes our next question. An element electronic arrangement 2A181 will exhibit the following stable oxidation state. He has given the electronic configuration of element. What he has given? 2A181. Right? So you can identify the element also based on the atomic number. What is the atomic number? 10 plus 18, 28 plus, sorry, what is this? Here 2 plus 8 into 10 plus 18, 28 plus, what is this? This one will be 20, that means 29 he has given. Right? One second. No, he has given the valence electronic configuration. You cannot calculate the atomic number. But based on the valence electronic configuration, you can predict the stable oxidation state. Here, this is the outermost shell configuration. Number of electrons in outermost shell, how many are there? One electron is there. So, if it loses one electron, it will be having stable. What is this? This When this one electron is lost, valence shell will become this one, and number of electrons in the valence shell will be 80. So this is basically what is this pseudo-nucleus configuration, which is also stable. So in order to attain this pseudo-nucleus configuration, what it will do? It will always exhibit +1 oxidation state. So the stable oxidation state will be the +1. What is the reason for this? The one electron in the valence shell is lost, then this will become valency where 18 electrons will be there. Presence of 18 electron in the outermost shell will be considered pseudo-nucleus configuration. So to attain the pseudo-nucleus configuration, this particular element will exhibit the +1 stable oxidation state. Hope it is clear. Now, two elements A and B have the following electronic configuration. The formula of the compound formed between them can be. Yes, here the electronic configuration is A. What is the electronic configuration is given? As given 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1, and what is B given? 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. See, from this we can identify the given element. What is the element which is configured for? Here see, 10 plus 3. This is actually the electronic configuration of aluminum. This is what is this is yet. This is the electronic configuration of oxygen. He is asking us to identify the formula of the compound formed between these. Generally we know that aluminum exhibits +3 oxidation state and oxygen exhibits -2. So basically folks, what is the way of writing the formula? Their powers will become their subscripts. Here it will become the subscript of oxygen, this will become the subscript of aluminum. What is the formula for L2O3? So generally in terms of A, what it will become? It will become A2B3. A2B3 is the correct formula of the compound formed between these two compounds. So if you have an option, yeah, AB is not right, AB is also not right. Here you have the correct answer. That is A2B3. This is how you have to identify the compound that could be formed when electronic configuration is given. Hope it is clear. Now we'll move to the next question. A metal forms a chloride with the formula MCl2, formula of the phosphoric acid H3PO4, formula of the phosphate of the metal is. Here he has given the chloride of a metal is Cl2. That means what is this? Metal is bivalent. From this what you need to understand? Metal is bivalent. It is having +2 charge, and he has given the H3PO4, phosphoric acid. What is phosphate ion? Phosphate ion will be PO4 minus 3. What will be the formula of the compound that is formed by these two? M+2 PO4 minus 3. How to write the formula of the ionic compound? The power of this phosphate will become the subscript of the metal, and the power of the metal will become the subscript of the phosphate. So for the formula will become M3PO4 taken twice. This is how you have to determine the formula. Which is the right option only given? M3PO4. This is not correct. MPO4, that is also not correct. Here you have the right answer. M3PO4 taken twice is the proper option for this particular question. Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. Here comes our next question. The effective nuclear charge. Yeah, if you see here, with this we have completed the level 1 questions of our material. With this question we are starting the level 2 questions of our material. This is the second question from the level 2 questions of the our material. So here you have the question: the effective nuclear charge, an electron of barium +2 ions, is asking to calculate the effective nuclear charge Z effect. How to calculate the Z effect? Z effect is equal to Z minus sigma. What is sigma here? Sigma is called as spinning constant or shielding constant, or is also called as Slater's constant. What is asking us to calculate? B plus 2. What is the Z of beryllium? Z of beryllium is 4. And what is needed? Sigma is needed. How to calculate the sigma? In order to calculate the sigma, there are certain set of rules. First of all, you need to write the electronic configuration in this form. 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4l, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d. In this form, you have to write the electronic configuration, right? And generally, suppose if you are talking about if you have balanced electronic configuration, first of all, let us just look at the electronic configuration of beryllium. Beryllium's electronic configuration is, what is this? Generally, it will exhibit 1s2, 2s2, but it has lost 2 electrons. So here it is how many electrons? Beryllium s2 configuration is 1s2. That means here you have to take the electronic configuration 1s2. Suppose if you are talking your testing electron is s2, you need to take the electrons of right side only. You cannot consider the electrons of, sorry, you need to take the electrons of left side only. You cannot take the electrons of right side. Suppose if your electron is in 3, you have to consider the electrons in the third shell and before the third shell. You cannot consider electrons of after third shell. Now, every electron in this shell will contribute 3.5. If the electron is in s orbital, then if you have to take it as 0.2. Every electron in n minus, if you are balanced electron either in s or p orbital, in order to calculate the sigma value, these are the contribution of each electron in nth shell. Electron in n minus 1 shell will contribute 0.85 and all the electrons in n minus 2 shell will be contribute 1. As per the given question, we need not to go for that much. Here, what is the sigma value here? You are talking about 1 electron. There are 2 electrons in the B plus. You are talking about the effective nuclear charge on 1 electron. That means there will be repulsion from only one other electron. How much that 1 electron will contribute? Here 0.3 it is. How much it contribute? 0.3. From where I am taking this? All the electrons excluding the testing electron will contribute 0.35. If that electron is in 1s, you have to take this as how much? 0.3. So for the 1 electron in the beryllium, the sigma value will be 0.5. So from this, what this Z effect will comes to be? The Z effect will comes to be, what is the atomic number? 4 minus how much? Sigma is 0.7. So how much it comes? It comes to be 3.7 it comes. This is the effective nuclear charge on the testing electrons of the B plus. Hope it is clear. This is a very important concept. Hope you have understood this. Beryllium's atomic number is 4. Actually, there are 4 electrons in the beryllium. When it loses 2 electrons, it becomes beryllium plus 2. He is asking us the effective nuclear charge on 1 electron. There are 2 electrons. That means there will be repulsion from 1 electron. So the screening of 1 electron will be 0.3. So Z effect will be equal to Z minus sigma. The sigma value is 0.3. So from this, Z effect will comes to be how much it is? 0.37. So what is the right option for this? This is your right option. 0.37 is the effective nuclear charge on the beryllium plus 1. Hope it is clear. Here comes our next question. The ionization energies of lithium and sodium are 520 kilojoules per mole and 495 kilojoules per mole respectively. The energy required to convert all the atoms present in 7 milligrams of lithium vapor and 23 milligrams of sodium vapor to their respective gaseous cations respectively. Here he has given the ionization, first ionization energy of lithium as well as sodium. How much they are? 520 and 495 kilojoules respectively. What is mean by ionization energy? Basically, the amount of energy required to remove electrons from the isolated gas and ion is called as ionization energy. Here, lithium's how much is given? Lithium's ionization energy is given 520 kilojoules per mole. Here he has given in kilojoules per mole and asking us to identify joules. If you see the options, they are in joules. And for how much he is asking us to calculate 7 milligrams and 23 milligrams respectively. Now let us try to understand what is mean by this. The sodium ionization energy is given 495 kilojoules per mole. What is mean by this? This is the amount of energy required to convert 1 mole of sodium into corresponding gaseous cation, and this is the amount of energy required to convert 1 mole of gaseous lithium into corresponding lithium plus ion. 1 mole. What is mean by 1 mole? 1 mole means the weight, in weight how much it will be equal to? It will be equal to its atomic mass. That is, your lithium, 1 mole of lithium is equal to how much? 7 grams. 7 grams of lithium requires how much it is? 7 grams of lithium requires 420 kilojoules per mole. So, if you want to convert this, right? What is mean by 7 times? 7 grams can be written as 7 into 1000 milligrams of lithium requires 520,000 joules per mole it is. Are you getting this? Right? This is milligrams per mole it will be. Right? Yeah. So here it will be per mole it will be. Now what is asking? 7 milligrams of, here it will be joules. Will call how many joules of energy? The simple cross multiplication. What is this? 7 into 520,000 upon what is this? Right? 7 into 1000 milligrams. This will be 7 milligrams. This will be joules. So what gets cancelled? 7, 7, 1000. What remains here is 520 joules. How much it is required? 520 joules is required for lithium. And in a similar manner, what is meant by 23 of sodium? Here 23 grams of sodium requires. 23 grams of sodium requires how much it is? So it is you are able to see up to you. Otherwise, I will remove this and write. Lithium is how much it is? 520 joules. In the similar manner, if you are talking about sodiums, how much it comes? 23 grams of sodium requires 495 kilojoules per mole it requires. 23 grams in the sense 23 into 1000 milligrams of sodium requires 495 into 1000 joules per mole. So what is asking? If 23 grams require 23 into 1000 milligrams requires this much of joules, 23 milligrams requires how much? Here also simple cross multiplication. What is this? 23 milligrams into 495 into 1000 joules by. What is this comes? It comes 23,000 milligrams. 23,000 gets cancelled. What remains here is 495. What are the respective ionization energies? In joules, 520 as well as 495. Here you have the right option. Here you have the right option. How many have you paused? Here comes our next question. The statement which is incorrect about effective nuclear charge will be. Here we have a question about the effective nuclear charge asking us to identify the incorrect statement. Incorrect statement. Most of the times when reading in an array you will misunderstand incorrect as correct, correct as incorrect. Here is asking incorrect statement. Z effect is Z minus sigma effect, where sigma is Slater's or speed constant. This is the right statement. Z effect increases as you move across the period. This is also correct. Z effect increases as you move along the period. Z effect decreases from top to bottom in a loop. This is actually the wrong statement. Z effect actually what happens? Yeah, this is also correct statement. Right? Z effect actually decreases down the loop. Right? First three statements are wrong. Sorry, first three statements are correct. The Z effect is equal to Z minus sigma. Z effect increases left to right in loop. Z effect decreases top to bottom. And here you have the wrong statement. Z effect is constant, almost constant for F-log elements. Actually, for F-log elements, what happens? For F-log elements, Z effect increases. Z effect increases. It will not remain constant. So this is your wrong option. Here comes our next question. How much energy is released when 1 gram of chlorine atom is converted into Cl minus? Electron affinity of chlorine is 349 kilojoules per mole. The same set of question. How much energy is released when 1 gram of chlorine atom converted into Cl minus and electron affinity of chlorine gas is 349 kilojoules per mole. What is mean by electron affinity? When one chlorine atom or when 1 mole of chlorine atom gains 1 mole of electrons, it will be converted to 1 mole of Cl minus and here this electron affinity delta H, here we call it as electron affinity, is given how much? Minus. This will be released, so we have to take it as minus. As they are not given this side, it doesn't make any difference. Actually, energy will be released, so it will be minus inside 490 kilojoules per mole. What is mean by this 490 kilojoules per mole? 1 mole. 1 mole means 35.5 grams of Cl gas when gains 1 mole of electrons and which converts into 1 mole of Cl. How much electron gain enthalpy is released? Minus 349 kilojoules per mole. Right? Now, here he is asking for 1 gram. Here he is asking for 1 gram is asking. Isn't it? Yeah, 1 gram is asking. How much this 1 gram is required? For 1 gram, how much is required? This is cross multiplication. What is this? 349 by 35.5. How much it comes? If 35.5 grams requires 349, how much is required by 1 gram? This comes around 9.83 kilojoules it comes. Right? This is your right answer. What is clear? We'll move to the next question. Here comes the next. Which of the following is not the reason for the highest electron affinity? Which of the following is not the reason for the highest electron affinity of the halogens? He is asking which of the following is not the reason for the highest electron affinity of the halogens? Halogens, high nuclear charge, this is actually a reason. Large atomic size, look, this is actually wrong. Halogens atomic size is generally small, this is not a reason. Easy to get the octet configuration, this is also two statements. Why? Because general valence electron configuration is ns2 np5 of halogens. If they gain 1 electron, they will just convert it into ns2 np6. Easily they will get the octet configuration. This is also right statement, this is also right statement. And off-field PRB, this is actually the wrong statement. Is it off-field? No, incompletely fit. So, first and third statements are true, second and fourth statements are wrong. So he is asking us the not reason. Which of the following are not reason? He is asking the incorrect one. So which are incorrect? Second and fourth are incorrect. Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. Which of the following is not an actinide? Which of the following is not an actinide? What are actinides? 5F series are 5F series elements which comes after actinium. Actinium are called as actinides. Right? Which of the following is not an actinide? Here, see. They generally varies from thorium 92, lawrencium 103. These 14 elements are called as actinides are 5F series. So here, let us see what are the options given. Curium, this is an actinide because it lies in between 90 to 110. Californium is also actinide because it is also in between 90 to 110. Uranium also an actinide, which is not an actinide here. Here this is not an actinide. Why? Atomic number of 30 is 65. This is actually what? This is a lanthanide. It is not actinide. Here this is what you need to remember. Generally, what is the atomic range of actinides? 90 to 100. All the elements which falls into this range comes under. Right? Even though you can't identify the elements, you can go with the atomic numbers also. This particular element is not an actinide. We'll move to the next question. Here comes our next question. The order of spinning effect of electrons of s, p, d and f orbitals of given shell of an atom on its outermost shell electronics is. It generally asking us a screening order. As we already discussed about the screening order depends upon the shape of the orbital. If shape is more symmetrical, more screening. If shape is more diffuse, the screening will be less. So we know that S orbital is spherically symmetrical, so it is having more screening, followed by P, followed by D, followed by F. S to F, the shape becomes diffused. As the shape becomes diffused, the screening nature decreases. So this is the decreasing order of what is this? Screening effect. Screening effect of orbitals. So where you are the first option? Here in the first option itself you have the correct order. From S orbital to F orbital, what happens? Screening effect decreases. Screening effect decreases. Here comes our next question. The electronic configuration of gadolinium, atomic number 16 is asking the electronic configuration of gadolinium. He has given the atomic number also. I told you that try to remember the electronic configuration of all the elements of the periodic table. So gadolinium comes under lutetium, lanthanide series. Gadolinium comes under 4F series or what is this? Lanthanide series. What are lanthanides? Lanthanides are generally ranges from what is this? Cerium 58 to lutetium 71. Then what is atomic number given? He has given 64. And generally in lanthanide series, cerium, gadolinium, lutetium are having D1 configuration. Rest of them are having D0 configuration. So what is the general electronic configuration of 4F series? It will be 6s2 4F and 5d 1s. Generally here it comes after xenon 54. And how many electrons are required? It is having 1 electron in the D1. So rest of the electrons should be in where it is. This is 54. It has to be. 1 second. Gadolinium will be 61. Yeah. 4f7 it is. How? This will be 54. 2 plus 7, 9 plus 1 will be 10. Total will be. The important thing to be noted down is that this cerium, gadolinium, lutetium will be having D1. Rest of them will be having D0. With respect to that, I am writing this D1, F7, 6s2. So where is your right option? This is 4f3, 5d5, which is not correct. 4f, this is your right answer. 4f7, 5d1, 6s2. This is the gadolinium's electronic configuration. This is the key point to be remembered. Hope it is clear. We'll move to the next question. The statement one thing you need to remember, guys, these are the questions that we are discussing of level 3, right? Level 3 questions of core material. Here comes one next question. The statement that is not correct for periodic classification of elements. The statement that is not correct for the periodic classification of elements is: the properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic number. Right? Is it a correct statement or correct statement? The properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic number. Non-metallic elements are less number than the metallic elements. This is also correct statement, because in the periodic table up to 75% elements are metals and rest of them are non-metals and metallics. So number of non-metals are comparatively less than the metals. For transition elements, the 3d orbitals are filled with electrons after 3p and 4s. After 3p and before 4s. This is your wrong statement. Here is saying that in transition states the d orbitals are filled with electrons after 3p and before 4s is seen. Actually, electrons enter after 4s. After 4s you will enter into the 3d. So this is your wrong statement. Option C is the correct answer to this particular question. If you go to the fourth option, that will also be correct. The first ionization enthalpies of elements generally increases with increase in the atomic number as we go along the periods. But this is also correct option, and the wrong option will be C. The wrong option will be this. Here comes our next question. The periodic number in the long form of periodic table is equal to, the periodic number in the long form of periodic table will be equal to maximum nth value. It will be equal to what? Magnetic quantum number of any element of the period is not equal to the magnetic quantum number. Atomic number of element is not equal to atomic number. Maximum principal quantum number, it is equal to the maximum principal quantum number. Right? This is your right answer. We'll move to the next question. Here comes the next question. The elements in which electrons are progressively filled in 4f orbital are called as, 4f series is also called, direct question it is, 4f series is called as Lanthanide. As they come after lanthanide, so we call them as lanthanides. What they are called as? Lanthanides we call them. 5f series will be called as actinides as they come after actinides. It's a direct question. Right? We'll move to the next question. Here comes the next question. Right? The correct arrangement for the ions in the increasing order of their radii is asking the correct order of their radii. As the electronic species are given. What are the species given? K plus, S2, Ca plus 2. All of them are what? 20 electrons. 20 electrons, 20 electrons. What are the atomic number? Your atomic number is 19, atomic number is 16, atomic number is 20. What is the relation? Radius of ion will be inversely proportional to atomic number. So what will be the correct increasing order? Increasing order will be Ca plus 2, K plus and S minus 2. Do we have any option on this? So here it is not here itself is the correct option. If you go further, here it is where is given mistakenly the fluorine should be smaller than increasing order is also. Yeah, here what is this? Fluoride should be smaller than the chloride. That is wrong. And the rest of them must be wrong because as per the correct option here itself. Right? Here chlorine is given mistakenly. Here also chlorine is given. It should be the largest here, and here derivative should be the smallest. So this is only the right answer as per the given question. Hope it is clear.